So hello, everybody, and welcome to Students for Political Engagement. Today, we have an interview with Simon Choi, who is the incumbent York Region District School Board Trustee for Wards 1, 2, and 4, and who is running for Ward 4 Councillor. So good morning.
Morning. Hi, how are you?
Doing good. So to start us off, would you like to give a short introduction of yourself and why you're running for City Council?
Okay, sure. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing this opportunity for me. So my name is Simon Tree. I have two kids here. One is in the Richmond High School, same as you. She's in the grade 10. And I have another kid that's name is Andrew. He's in grade 7 in Crosby. So my background is computer engineer. So I got my bachelor degree in 1992 and master degree in 2001, both of in the computer science. So around 21 years ago, I immigrated from Canada. Immigrated from China to Canada. So that's mainly my background. So mainly is IT. About 2 years ago, I was elected as trustee, covering the Ward 4, Ward 1, 2, 4 Richmond Hill, representing all the interests of our parents by our DSP school board. The reason I chose to run the elections for the Ward 4, there are following reasons. So the most important thing is in the past few years, I hear and see a lot of complaints from residents regarding to our cities or development plan, which means the city trying to propose a lot of high density buildings along the Young Street or other corner of our city, and that might cause a lot of traffic issues, health issues, education issues, and many issues involved with that topic. So that's the major reason I'm trying to run election. Definitely there are other reasons, for example, safety of our communities and also the health of our communities as well. You can imagine, right? 10 years ago, we have less incidents or in the community, and you seldom hear the car being stolen, bicycle being stolen, or horses being breaking in. But in recent few years, there are more security concern issues resolved from community. This is my second reason running to this election. Another one is because our previous Ward 4 Councillor, David West, who being promoted to become mayor, and his vacancies for the Ward 4 Councillor is available. So I'm trying to run to replace his position as well. So that's a few reasons I'm trying to run the election. That is all from me.
Thank you. And for our first question, an important part of a livable community is community safety. How will you as councillor maintain and improve community safety in Richmond Hill?
Well, excellent questions. Around 2 years ago, before the COVID-19, so myself, also a lot of residents in both, I'm living in this community named as the Jefferson community. Down there in the south, we have another community named the Westbrook community. So both community members, we organized a lot of events and meetings discussing with our York Region Police Department, also our previous Ward 4 Councillor, David West. So we are trying to push this neighborhood watch program. This program will organize 40% of residents in the street, and we're using the intercommunication ways to proactively monitoring all the events on the street and reporting, and also taking actions. For example, if someone is suspicious on the street, right, you have this type of neighborhood watch program, and you build up street monitor. People in the street can report to the block captain. For example, in my area, we have large blocks, right? We set up the entire community as 8 different blocks, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and each block has their own leaders. And the leader will have lots of streets. So you have street leaders, you have block leaders, and overall you have a captain, which is monitoring entire thing. And also we have the police officers dedicated for our community. In this case, if something suspicious, we either can notify our neighbor or can notify our street leader or can notify our block leader or can call police officers. There are 2 types of things, right? Number one, that is urgent. There's also 1-800 numbers, which is not urgent. So we have a different approach to engage with the relevant officers to help us to solve the either something will be happening or something is happening. So we have to take a proactive solutions or actions to prevent the bad thing happening on our street. Unfortunately, because this COVID-19, we stopped, and for 2 years. Now the COVID-19 almost finished, so this is really time we restart and relaunch this neighborhood watch program. So keep our street and our community better and safe.
All right, thank you. And moving on to our next question, which is about transportation. So one of the more important aspects of a good city is efficient transportation. So what, as a councillor, would you do to develop and improve Richmond Hill's transportation system?
Okay, excellent question as well. Let's go back to square one. The transportation or the public transit is the traffic issues is due to either the first one. If you have more residents, they're taking the buses, it's going to be cause this problem. The second one is regarding the infrastructures. So if you can solve both of them, maybe can make a balanced plan. The first one is you have control numbers of residents, right? If this is here, if you build up around 80 floors buildings around your corner on the street, and you have to consider, oh, we have a lot of people here. Then you have to consider, should we expand our road from 1 lane to 2 lane, or from 2 lane to be more, maybe less, right? That's the demanding from the residents' perspective. The second one is infrastructure. To solve the traffic problems, the majority effective is to build up very good, effective transportation system, right? Public transit will be definitely the top one. In our area along the Yonge Street, that's the most busy street. We don't have a GO train there. We don't have a subway there. We don't have a railway station there. The only thing we depend on is only 2-way or 3-way Yonge Street. So that's really a problem. To solve the problem, I think we can think about this way: enhance or increasing the public transit investment. For example, for now, in Lauto, the small street, we don't have bus. So Lauto residents, if you want to take the school, the public transit, you need to walk for 20-30 minutes from your home back to a nearby bus station. So our public transit system is not that flexible and effective yet. So if you want to encourage to reduce the traffic problems, I think infrastructure will be definitely the most important, right? So there are a lot of development plan ongoing. For example, we are trying to extend the GO train or the subway station from Yonge Street back to our back to our city. And it might take years to build up that path. This definitely can reduce a lot of traffic problems. But for now, we are still in the blueprint phase. So we're looking for a few years later on, the public GO train or subway station can extend to us. Another one is maybe we can maintain the good quality of our local traffic and encourage more people taking the public transit to reduce the traffic jam issues. But so far, I haven't seen that trend yet because our public transit system is not that flexible and not that convenient. People still need walking very long distance. So it's a kind of balance and demandings. It depends on how many residents will choose to take a public transit and how many infrastructures we can build up to support that. So it's a long journey back and forth. Let's see how that goes.
All right, thank you. And another aspect of transportation is things like walking and cycling. So do you think you have any ideas on how those things could be developed in Richmond Hill?
Good question as well. So the health of our well-being is really good. So for myself perspective, I'm a sport type of person, right? I run, juggling, bicycling, swimming a lot. So for me, definitely, this is really my favorite areas. If possible, we want to reserve more spaces, green space for people's, for fitness, for exercise, for parking. So regarding to running, so we have back our community, we do have an Oak Ridge trail, which is long, very long. So we need to keep maintaining those trails and encourage people get out from your home, from your door to walk outside, either running or bicycling. So it's good exercise. Regarding to other areas, look at our city, especially in the Woodford, we really have less green space left over for people for exercise. So we make this maybe a high priority when city, because every city needs development. Definitely, we cannot stop it, and we are encouraging the development. But when you design development plans, please consider also the balance of our life. So trails, running sports, running field, yes, those are facilities must be considered when we make a future good community plan. That's my thought. I'm definitely going to support it. So I like sports, as I mentioned before.
Thank you. As you previously mentioned, green space in general, our public parks and green spaces are an important part of Richmond Hill. How will you work to protect and improve the environment of our city?
Good. I think there are a few approaches. The first one is because I heard a lot of complaints from residents regarding the garbage cleaning, especially in winter. We have the open containers, a lot of garbage being blown out on the street. So in spring, you can see the garbage is anywhere. Now, how can we get that pollution away, right? So this is really, I struggled a lot. I cannot organize, or cities should not organize a lot of the volunteers to clean up the garbage in the spring. We need to find a permanent solution, right? So I thought about it, discussed with all the residents. The best and the easy way is we change our garbage cleaning bin. If you dump your garbage recycles in the bin, should be at least have cover. If you have a lid there in winter, the garbage will be instead of the container, instead of flowing anywhere on the street. So this might be a good solution to reduce the pollutions and also damage our greenhouses, keep our green spaces in our community. This is one factor. Another factor will be when you build up, don't go back to the square one. When you build up a new building, please consider reserve the green space for the people, for well-being, for fitness, for sports. This is very important. We are not only building a bedroom community, we are also building a community good for people to live.
All right, thank you. And I think this moves us into our next question, which is about city finances. So as a municipality, the financial health of the city is a very important part of its operation. So what would you do as a councillor to ensure that Richmond Hill is on good financial grounds while at the same time providing the same or improved services?
Yeah, very good question and very challenging question as well. I heard a lot of residents say Richmond Hill charge a lot of property tax. But if you look back for the past 4 years, the majority tax, let's say the percentage of our tax, your tax payment will be divided into three parts. So 50% goes to York region. Remember, Richmond Hill is one of the city of York region. We have Markham, Aurora, Newmarket, Vaughan, etc. So we are not only the one with the cities, it's many other cities. So we join together. 50% of your tax dollars goes to York region. It does not belong to our city, okay? Another 23 or 24% goes to the BRDSB, which is our education board education. So your money goes to our education system. That's 23, 24%. And only 23 or 24% of the monies or tax goes to the city. So in the past few years, I was told and research reports by noted by other councillors, for the tax increasement for our city is almost zero. So we did not increase any taxes for our city at all. If your money goes up, it not goes up to our city. It goes to the entire York region or to the school board. But unfortunately, we are sharing the big pocket here. With only one part of them. Regarding the city tax, your tax dollar did not increase so far as the information I collected. And regarding to the futures, how we maintain the same quality of services, it's going to be a very challenge. I put this way. If you can imagine, the inflation rate is 17%, 17% of this year, and how are you going to maintain the people's salaries? Your cost is everything is growing, right? And we have a lot of staff working in the city as well, and their salary cannot get increased, but their living standard is high. How can we maintain that one? Also, we also deliver same quality of services. Look at if everything increased by 70%, how can we maintain the same service as before? Personally, I'm not a smart guy. I'm going to leave this question to all the residents in the city. How can we achieve the same target if all the interests, all the inflation rates at 70%? I don't know yet. I will leave this one for a bigger discussion. Maybe public hearings, maybe other channel can be proposed. So we're going to hear more people's suggestions, how we can maintain same service quality in condition of 70% inflation rates. It's going to be a very challenge.
So thank you. And as you mentioned about services, do you think going forward with this current, situation, that the city should have can add any additional services to like its roster?
Yeah, as I know, in the city, a lot of complaint coming from residents is saying we are wasting our money, wasting taxpayers' money. I'm not in the committee of finance yet, so I don't know how those money being spent. Is there any buffers, any ways you can transfer or squeeze out monies to do something else? I'm not in that position yet, so I have no comments for it yet. Yeah, let's because the city is not only my city or your city, it's our city. So let's have a discussion and find out what is the best approach. I think we have a lot of smart people in the street, in the community. Why not? If you have any good ideas, please bring up.
Thank you for that answer. And this brings us to our next question. So urban development is an important part of City Council's responsibility. Right now, the lack of housing is an important problem that is facing Richmond Hill as our population grows. On the other hand, density of housing and adequate services are also a concern of many residents. What is your philosophy or idea on how City Council should approach this problem and balance between these two issues?
Your perfect question. So that's why in the past few years, we are struggling and fighting for a balanced planning proposal. As we mentioned before, for cities development, you not only consider affordable housing, but you also consider, for example, do you have enough firefighter services? How about police officers, skills and numbers? How about your education systems? How about your hospital, nurse, doctors services? How about your community center, your fitness club? There is really a whole package, right? So if you only consider an affordable houses, you might lose something else. For example, if you want to build up 80 or 100 floors buildings over there, yes, you have a lot of affordable houses, but end of the day, if you lose in the fitness club, you have losing your green space, you're losing your parking lot, you wait for 2 hours to see a doctor. You wait for 2 hours, some case to hospital, to the school. There's going to be a chain of actions, right? So when we planning affordable houses, it does not mean houses is the most important. We have to consider other factors. We are not fighting for development. We're fighting for overdeveloping. We need a balanced plan, right? So to be affordable houses, you have to consider other factors. Otherwise, if you build up high buildings, yeah, you fix one issue. This house is affordable, but you're leading more and more issues, and then you have to spend more money to fix other problems. So get a bigger plan, a whole plan, and design and consider all the factors so that make a good decision later.
Thank you. And in your idea on housing, do you think in the development of Richmond Hill, there should be a specific types of housing, such as, condos, medium size housing, single detached housing, or do you think it's a more like general approach that's a combination?
Good questions. Along the most communities location, for example, if you look close to highway, if you the location close to highway or a main street, you definitely can build up the condominium a little bit higher, right? So that's a good place to put. If you have far away from street locations, the houses or independent or detached or semi-detached or townhouse can be considered as well, right? Depends on location. The location is most important, right? If you have subway or highway, why not get up build high buildings? Yeah, the high floor buildings, that's okay, right? Because if you get out from building, you go to the highway, there is less traffic impact. But if you're far away from a street, if you build up a condominium, no one gonna take public transit, right? You have to drive. It's going to be cause a lot of inconvenience. So upon to the location and upon to where you're going to build up your property, the different type of property can be built up.
All right,
That's
thank
my
you.
thought.
Yeah, thank you for that answer. And I think this brings us to our final question. So, you've talked a lot about the ideas you have for Richmond Hill. So if you were elected as Ward 4 councillor, what would be the first issue you would try and get progress on in City Council?
Yeah, I think there are a few questions or few issues I have already collected from our residents during my campaign session. The first most important one is traffic speed issues, because it lead to our safety of street. Around the Tower Hill Street, along the Canyon Street, also Brookside Street, we do have lots of residents complain about speed issues. So the first thing, top priority is we need to talk with our city staff and find out what is the best approach. Either build up a permanent bump. I don't think it is a good idea, because as long as you build up the bump, you cannot take it away, right? So, or maybe reduce or lights warnings, alerting system, or cross-side lights. I have other suggestions as well. Maybe we can use some recycle or reusable bump to slow down the speed. In winter, we take them away. In summer, we put it back. So there are a few options. We don't know which one is best. Also the budget, right? I don't know how much money those things will be. Definitely, if I'm elected, I'm going to work with the residents or the city staff to figure out what's the best approach, which one is more, reusable and more flexible. One side is low cost, and next side is also to meet our security and safety concerns. This is what I thought. The second one, I want to renovate our tennis court in our community, because I told you before, I'm a sportsman. I like to play tennis. So in the entire Ward 4, we don't have very good quality of the tennis court. I want to renovate one of them, which is close to the Marine Hill Public School. We do have lights there at night time, 24/7, but the condition on the surface is no good. So we're trying to renovate that one as well. That's maybe my top two tasks. Maybe if I elected, maybe next year in March, we're going to restart the neighborhood watch program. I might send out flyers and notify our community members and residents. We reorganize one more time. Let's keep working on it.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, Mr. Cui.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today.